second and goal. Pass it up. Andrew Harris, touchdown.
It's game on.
Tonight, it's semifinal Sunday in the CFL. East and West find out who's best.
It's a dirty job and they want to tackle it. A local bike park looks for a major overhaul.
And Mark Habscheid breaks down a rough Royals weekend. Hey, don't throw that. It's game on.
Game On is brought to you by Windows West, doing what it takes to earn your business and going even further to keep it.
Hello and welcome to Game On. Age-wise, I would be Demi, this would be Ashton, but don't worry, friends, we are not breaking up.
No, we're staying together for the kids.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, great show tonight, Jeff, as it was semifinal Sunday in the CFL.
Yeah, Paul, 4 teams came into the day with only 2 spots in the Grey Cup up for grabs. Let's check out the highlights. Start with you, young Ashton, in the West.
I'll take it gladly. Here we go. Yeah, BC Place are rocking for this one. Leo's hoping to turn an 0-5 start into a Grey Cup appearance. Jump right to the second quarter. The score already 6-3 BC when Travis Lulay goes airborne. He finds future Hall of Famer Geroy Simon. He makes a sensational over-the-shoulder catch, gets into the house. That major puts the lines up by 10. 2 plays later, and the Leo's defense gets into action. Corey Banks intercepts the Ricky Ray pass and runs it down to the 10. And then with Lulay at the helm, it's former VI Raider Andrew Harris on the sideline, beating a tackle and heading home. 26-3 Lions at the half. And in the third, the home side buries the hatchet. Harris takes the handoff, and check out the spectacular effort, breaking 2 tackles to punch it into the end zone. His second of the game puts the Leos up by 27, and then the cherry on top. 6 minutes to play. Lulay with the run of his career. 61 yards all the way to the promised land. That's all she wrote, folks. 40-23 the final. The Lions have earned the right to play for the Grey Cup title at home next Sunday.
And in the East, it was the Ticats in Winnipeg for the divisional final, -21 with the wind chill to start this game. It only takes 7 minutes for the visitors to open the scoring. Justin Medlock with the field goal from 18 yards out. It was 3-0. But from there, all Blue Bombers. Early second half, Buck Pierce hands off to Chris Garrett, who rumbles down to the 4. 1 play later, backup quarterback Alex Brink steps in to hit Jason Vega for the major. It was 10-3 Winnipeg at the half. From there, Winnipeg just worked away at the clock. Final possession for the Ticats says it all. Quentin Porter just swarmed by the Winnipeg defense, and the Bombers close out Canada Inn Stadium in style. Final drive in the final seconds. Garrett finds the end zone. 19-3 the final. Winnipeg, your Eastern Division champs. They'll play for the Grey Cup next Sunday in Vancouver.
Yes, so the Grey Cup is set. That's very exciting. Also a very exciting weekend for local sports, Jeff.
Yeah, it sure was, Paul. And of course, we have it covered right here on Game On. Let's check out the old weekend wrap.
Yeah, we will. And we'll start with Victoria Royals. They had a pretty rough weekend. Started in Dan City on Friday night against the Giants. Royals getting beat up 11-3, suffering the worst loss in franchise history. Was not pretty. Lots of room for improvement on Saturday night, Jeff.
Yeah, Paulie, the boys back home last night hosting the Kootenay Ice to town. The Ice, defending Western Hockey League champs, and they certainly looked at last night, scoring 8 goals against the Royals and winning last night's tilt 8-3, the final.
Yeah, not good. So in 2 games this weekend, the Royals were outscored 19-6. That is not good enough, and the boys talked about shaking off the weekend, but also learning from it.
Well, you have to do that, but at the same time, you got to learn from it too. So you just can't turn a blind eye, otherwise the same mistakes happen. So, you know, we need to be a fresh group and get the energy and get our structure back.
I think we're definitely going to look at the games and try and see what we're doing wrong and try and fix the problems and get better at what we're doing wrong in practice and then move forward from it.
This portion of Game On brought to you by Capital Iron. There's no store like it.
Meanwhile, just up the Island Highway, Victoria Grizzlies hosted the Alberni Valley Bulldogs on Friday. The home side trailing by 1 through 40 minutes. That's when Victoria kid Wesley Myron put the Grizzlies on his back, scoring a trio in the third period alone. to lift Victoria past their Mid-Island rivals.
Yes, Jeff, his 9th, 10th, and 11th of the year made it a 6-3 final, but Myron not done there, adding a goal and an assist Saturday as the Grizz capped off the weekend with an OT win over the first-place Cow Valley Caps. Grizzlies looking good.
Yeah, they were. And finally, a clean sweep on the hard court for the Vice men's and women's basketball squads this weekend.
Ladies knocked off Thompson Rivers University 73-65, 96-88 in a set of back-to-back games.
Yes, sir. And while the men also picked up a pair of wins against the Wolfpack, 77-75 on Friday and 84-76 on Saturday.
Yeah, they're perfect on the season. Nice to see great crowds out at McKinnon Gym as well.
Yes, go Vikes, go. Well, it's time to revive an old favorite here on Game On. We missed it for a couple of weeks, but let's check it out. The best amateur athletes on the island. It's our Island Shoutout.
Yeah, where else would you find it? Start with a big shout out to Shingo Nichols, 11-year-old kendo whiz. Shingo took part in the Pacific Northwest Kendo Tournament in Kent, Washington last weekend. And how'd he do? Well, he won the 12 and under division. Good going, Shingo.
Yes. In high school football, the Mount Doug Rams were big winners on Friday. The varsity and junior varsity teams both beating Lord Tweedsmuir to head to the next round of the playoffs, thanks in large part to the brother tandem Terrell and Marcus Davis.
Yeah, they're good. Meanwhile, in AA action, John Barsby won their 22nd straight game, 46 over Abbotsford. They're going on as well. Good going to Barsby.
And finally, last but not least, huge shout out to Jimmy Rutledge, who earned his Champions Tour card at Q School last week. Rutledge finished second in the tournament. So no more Monday qualifying for Rut. Good going,
that is
Jimmy.
Right. Good going. All right, you want to be a part of Game On? We want you to send in some story ideas, and if we use it, you can win a family 4-pack of tickets to any Royals game this season.
Yes, Paul, the best story idea, you get the tickets. It's that simple. Just send your story idea to GameOn@checknews.ca, and you are in it to win it.
Yeah, time for a short break, but coming up on Game On, Extreme Makeover Bike Park Edition. 2 local cyclists look to keep their track open year-round.
And we have legendary island golfer Donco Jones in for a quick shift. Stay with us. More Game On after a short break.
Don't leave. Do not leave.
Stay.
Game On is brought to you by Windows West, doing what it takes to earn your business and going even further to keep it.
Welcome back to Game On. Make sure to stick around for the Sports Cage when Victoria Royals head coach and GM Mark Habscheid stops by to talk about a bit of a rough weekend.
Yeah, let's hope the boys can turn things around. And speaking of turning things around, we're going to switch gears to cycling now, and a couple of local guys trying to build an all-seasons bike park, Jeff.
Yeah, Paul, this story's going to get a little dirty as there's some major problems at a North Saanich bike track where all the wet winter weather is forcing riders off the track. Magic Michael Walker has the story.
They have built it, and they have come, but now they can't stay. Andrew Mitchell and Greg Parrish are walking around in the problem, mud.
It just turns into goo.
It has situations like this where if you step in it, it ruins the park, and that alone where what Greg just stepped in is probably going to take me about 3 hours to fix. So, thanks, Greg.
This bike track in North Saanich is facing a big problem. When the wet stuff hits the track, it turns the course into this, making riding impossible. And if this mud is torn up by riders, when it dries, the course becomes even worse.
Like, you can see the damage that happens, and most people, they don't know what's going to happen. They drop in and they find out afterwards that they leave a big trail and a slug, and it dries out into this really hard to fix item. So it doesn't help us, that's for sure, because we're all volunteers, and it's a lot of resources that goes into fixing this, and it's not ready for anyone to ride. It's got to be shut down for the whole winter until the spring.
This track should look a lot more like this. When Freeride mountain bikers took over the harbor last summer at Jump Ship. But while Victoria is quickly turning into a hotbed for bikers, building a facility that can be open 365 days a year is proving to be quite a challenge.
This park's super important. I mean, there's obviously nothing like it currently on the island right now, something this size and this good. So yeah, I mean, it's just a development of the sport and giving people recreational stuff to do in their off time when they're not working or in school and stuff like that. And I mean, it'd just be great to have cover over the park, and obviously try and get something to maintain this during the winter would be great as well.
if there was like we could put a roof on this place, like we'd be pumping out a lot of talent. All the best riders come from Victoria. No one really knows that. There's Olympians living here. Andrew's 4-time Canadian champion. So if you had a place that had a roof on it, you can just come in here and just train nonstop. And we have the land. We just need the money to put something over it.
For now, the track will stay, but if it isn't kept dry, it could be months before riders can take to the air.
Thank you, Mike. Well, 2 weeks ago, Cowichan's Dawn Coe-Jones was inducted into the BC Golf Hall of Fame. Jeff was at the induction ceremony and caught up with her for a quick shift.
Yeah, we'll have a quick shift here. I'm with Dawn Coe-Jones, recent recipient of the Hall of Fame for British Columbia Golf. And first of all, best part of golfing at March Meadows?
Well, if you make a bogey or a double on the first hole, it's a par 3. You can turn around, run back, and start over.
And you can also go back and get a cold one at the clubhouse. First car.
My first car was a yellow Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, what year?
1976. Got an 8-track stereo for it for Christmas that year.
What was playing in the 8-track?
Probably, and this is quite funny, we're staying at the River Rock Hotel, it's probably Burton Cummings.
Really? First pet and first pet's name?
First pet was Buzz.
Yeah.
And he actually...
Dog, cat?
He was a little dog.
Okay.
Heinz 57, looked like a Doberman, but not a Doberman, and he actually would retrieve the tennis ball for us when all my buddies, my brother's friends, when we were growing up, we played road hockey. And Buzz, one of our friends taught him to get the ball, so we'd miss the net, and Buzz would go get it and bring it back.
Greatest golf memory?
Well, I am a professional golfer, so I probably would have to say my first professional win.
Really?
And somebody might think it's on the LPGA Tour. It wasn't. It was in Korea.
Worst golf memory?
Oh, that's easy. That's
really
easy. 16th hole, I made a 10 on a par 5 at the LPGA McDonald's Championship.
Worst thing you ever said in a golf course?
Not repeatable.
This quick shift brought to you by
Dawn Coe-Jones.
Great lady, lots of fun. Congrats to Dawn Coe-Jones for the huge honor a couple weeks back. Time to move along here, though, on Game On. It's actually the main reason that Steve Nash never misses the show.
Why is that?
The Plays of the Week.
Ah, yes.
Plays of the Week is brought to you by Hasbro Environmental, demolition, asbestos, and mold abatement specialists.
All right, let's start with a t-shirt wearing world record attempt. This is how it started, and here's how it ended. 247 shirts later, he sets a new mark. That's a whole lot of cotton.
Oh, yeah, to the ice. And a lesson on how to finish the empty netter from Craig Smith, the Predators rookie.
Oh, man.
Looks to show off, but I'll tell you, very lonely at the end of the bench.
Yeah, Ken and Kathy Shields looking on from the stands at UVic this weekend, watching the Vikes rip it up thanks to this sweet little alley-oop from Ryan McKenna.
All right, to the Lynx and Tiger Woods at the President's Cup making the sweet birdie putt. Here comes the fist pump. We need the fist pump. I haven't seen that in a while.
You sound like Mike Walker there. And speaking of Mike, his favorite sport, Quidditch. He's a little wizard. The Quidditch World Cup going on in New York. Where do these people come from?
Where did Mike come from? Where did we get Mike?
I don't know.
To a sport with a real World Cup and a Goal of the Year candidate from MLS, courtesy of Portland's, check out the name, Darlington Nagbe.
Yeah, finally this from the You Will Never See It Again file. This guy paragliding in the Himalayas when you can see a pair of eagles run into him.
Yeah, and it's not over there. One of the birds gets caught in the chute. They both crash, land into the trees. What a wild ride. But the good news is the eagle is fine. As far as the guy goes,
I'm fine. I'm okay.
Coming up next, Mark Habshai joins us on the Sports Cage. That was good timing to talk about Victoria Royals hockey.
Yes! But stick around for that. But first, here's a look at some island standings. The bird got you.
Island Standings is brought to you by Frontrunners New Balance, locally owned, community driven. Sports Cage is brought to you by McLaren Electric, leaders in lighting for 50 years.
Welcome back to Game On. You were on the Sports Cage, and Paul and I are happy to welcome Mark Habshai. And first of all, thanks for taking part of your Sunday to come in, because I know you like to sit on the couch and watch the NFL. And not under the best circumstances either. An 11-3 loss on Friday night in Vancouver, then an 8-3 loss last night to Kootenay. and lost 5 of your last 6 games. But I guess that's just part of the ebbs and flows of a season, Mark.
Yeah, it is. It's part of junior hockey. It's part of really any sport. You really seldom do you get a year going like the Packers do where you remain undefeated. So you'll get some streaks in there when you can't help but to win, and you'll get some times when it's the losses are mounting, and that's what's happening right now.
When you lose 2 straight by that much, does that play a factor in how you approach the kids now? I mean, do you talk to them? Do you say, all right, let's clean the slate? Or do you say, you know what, we got to remember this as we move forward? How do you respond?
Well, I think it's, how they are really. I think if they don't really care, then there's a problem. But you could tell, like they didn't have a lot of energy in the game last night. I think that game on Friday took a lot out of them emotionally. And then they got the quick one against us last night. And it just seemed like, the guys were trying, but there wasn't a lot there. So, we got to learn from it. You just can't turn the page because obviously there's some things we have to improve on, but you have to take the pieces out and you have to kind of dissect it a bit and find out what the reason is, and then address it and move forward from there.
A stinker last night in front of 6,700 in your home rink. I guess that's sort of disappointing because the fans have certainly watched an exciting hockey team here in Victoria so far.
Yeah, it's disappointing. You get a crowd like that, and they've been great to us, all season. And great thing is they didn't boo us off the ice. So we really appreciate that. But like I said, that's junior hockey.
Yeah, exactly.
We come late. We've had some come from behind wins at home. It's really, now you get the other side of it too. And our fans have been great, so no complaints there.
Where's the motivation factor then for your young men? Because I mean, they had to come in, a new bar, new fans, new city. I mean, it was all very exciting, and you can ride that high. And how do you motivate them for the rest of the season? Because we're now at the 1/3 marker of the season.
Well, you can. It's a good point you brought up. We'd even talked about that coming into the city, the crowd, the type of victories that we were getting.
Yeah, it's just exciting hockey.
Yeah, it's emotional roller coaster, and then all of a sudden you settle into it. And now it's November, and the newness is worn off, and now to get, the crowds, guys are used to that a little bit. So that happens, and then we're not playing our best hockey right now either. Structurally, it's fractured in some areas, and we just have to kind of get back to basics. Our turnovers are up, which leads to chances for the other team. So just the basics of completing passes, carrying the puck, getting pucks to the net, getting pucks deep instead of turnovers in the neutral zone will help us. So you don't want to, dissect it too much, but at the same time, that there's a reason that you're allowing these goals and you're losing, and you have to address it.
1/3 into this season, is this when you start looking at trades? And if so, what areas do you think that you need to get better at, Mark?
Well, I think, our games right now, it really hasn't been great in all facets. I think, our goaltending hasn't been what it was. Our defense isn't what it is right now, and our forwards aren't what they are. So when you lose as a team like that, it's disappointing, but it's something that I think you can fix. But looking at that, I think we missed Tyler Stahl. He's an NHL draft pick, and we don't know how long he's going to be, but we can't wait too long because we probably could use another guy back there.
Yeah, backhand. Yeah.
So that comes. Then up front, we're young too, and we put guys in key positions. But the organization is a plan. We're going to move forward with young guys, and you win a few in a row, and you think, geez, where's the parade route? And then you lose a few in a row, and then you want to trade everybody.
Right, you can't sell the farm.
Exactly. So you can't do that. You really got to think things through clearly. Understand the players that you have and the needs that you might have, and address it accordingly. But we've always talked about building this correctly, and just to do knee-jerk and trade 5 guys and bring 6 in, it's difficult because a lot of times, teams don't trade the players that they want the most. So, you got to be careful there. And I'm not a big believer in trading 5 guys here and receiving 5 guys here. Little trades here and there to help specific needs. If a team has an overload at one position and we have and then both teams win, and it works for everybody. But just to keep trading and trading, I don't believe in that, and especially with young guys.
Kevin Sunder, want to talk about him. Missed a couple games prior to going to the Subway Series in Regina and Moose Jaw, so you'd have to think there's a small injury there, and perhaps seeing him over the last couple of games perhaps lingering injury. But bigger than that, you always want, you're here to have these players get to the next level. And for Kevin, that was an invitation, hopefully, to the Canadian Junior Camp. But he had 14 minutes and penalties in Regina, including a 10-minute misconduct. Does that sort of take him out of the equation, Mark?
No, I don't think so. I think it's what you do for the body of your work, I think, and the luxury he has is that Don Hay has seen him play not only this year but in past years. So, I think that he'll probably decide based on what he's seen in other games, not just the Subway Series. And as well, I think it goes into play of who else is out there.
Right.
Sometimes you may be a really good player, but maybe there's guys there, or
your
maybe,
position.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How's their depth pool at center, for example, and can he play the wing? Does is there openings at the wing? Those things come into play, and so you put all those things together, and that's probably what'll decide whether he gets the invite or not.
Last thing we want to touch on is the man that you've nicknamed Lurch on your team, Keegan Kanzig. Wonderful young man, and he's 6'5", 230 pounds. So he has all that going for him, but he's got some skill and some likability, and he's going to be part of the U17 World Hockey Challenge. Must be proud of that young man right now.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, he's a good hockey player, but he's even a better person. He's upbeat. He just wants to learn. He's good with his teammates, easy to coach, and plus he's a monster too. So he's got a lot of upside there, and it's just keep working with him.
It was good because I asked him, about his nickname, and he said, "Well, Coach calls me Lurch," and I said, "Well, do you know who Lurch was?" He said, "I had to go Google it."
Google it on his smartphone, probably. All right, so we're a third of the way through the season, and I know coaches never probably like doing this, but report card. I mean, where are you right now? If you could give it a letter grade, and where could you be potentially 2/3 of the way through the season?
Well, I think our last few games we're not where we want to be, but overall we're probably somewhere close, I would think, with the amount of youth and the turnover that we had. I think, like we talked about earlier, I think the energy of the newness of the building and the crowds and everything really helped us early, and now we have to regain our game again, and so all in all, I think it's been okay. I think we're probably where we should be at right now, maybe even a little bit ahead, I don't know, but we've gone through quite a few injuries and still incurring some, so we're holding our own, we're hanging in there, and I think the next while is crucial because it doesn't get easier.
All right, Mark, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for coming in. Really appreciate it.
There you go, another edition of Game On the Sports Cage here on Check, and of course each and every Sunday night right here on Check, it is Game On. Good night.